You hear that? That's the old Bill.
Referring to the police as the old Bill. You sound like you're from London.
First of all, Discount Jeremy points things out on the screen cliche. And second, that attempted British accent was beyond atrocious. I'm feeling a solid 5 sins just for that.
So unless you want to explain why you got America's favorite invisible wanker dead on the floor.
Holding Pee Wee Herman's visibility against him.
Holding unfunny jokes against, well, I guess it would be against your audience? Yeah, I'll go with that.
You got a problem, you call me, I solve a problem.
Well, it sounds like you didn't actually solve the problem. That's an unfortunate trunk pounding to happen right during your sales pitch, Billy.
And your point is? This is something that the TVSins writers do all the time that's really stupid. They act like dialogue from characters is supposed to be strictly factual exposition when, in reality, what the character is saying might actually be flawed or even completely made up. And yes, I understand he might have been going for a joke here, but I couldn't tell because it wasn't funny. So...
What is that?
Hearing what sounds like a human being banging from inside your trunk and asking this question from the exact car where you moments ago placed a human being inside your trunk.
Huey is currently in shock. This reaction is totally realistic.
Touching someone else's face. For that matter, touching your own face. Do you know how dirty your hands are?
And he proceeds to go on a boring and uninteresting rant about how dirty your hands are. Do people actually find this shit entertaining? If you answered yes, chances are you need to see an Exorcist stat.
Oi, Francie!
Nicknaming your gun runner after a beauty school dropout.
Naming your unfunny jokes after... Wait, that doesn't make sense. Unfunny joke is unfunny. There we go.
You got translucent in your tongue, huh?
Getting translucent in your trunk is definitely a sin. That will expose all your shit.
Yet again, if you're going to make a joke, at least try to make it a little funny, not just dumb.
I'm sorry. I asked for translucent.
In what world do they not tell this kid that they had to change up the superhero visit? I get that the superheroes are assholes in this world, but are the medical care workers too?
It's entirely possible that the medical care workers also didn't know that translucent wasn't available and therefore didn't have time to tell the kid.
Giving Maeve the hint of nipples on her sculpture suit, but keeping Homelander's suit nipple-free. Either go full Schumacher or don't.
Is he failing to understand a subtle satirical detail in this episode? Yes. Is that ironic because of the fact that they claim their channel is satirical? Also yes. Anyway, giving a statue of a female superhero nipples but not the male statue is meant to make fun of the sexualization of female superheroes that happens in the real world.
Deep is coming.
My shocked response to almost every single scene involving the Deep somehow makes it into the episode.
So Discount Jeremy doesn't like any scenes with the Deep? That's definitely a sin. Just wait till he fucks an octopus. Maybe then he'll be into it.
People love a team up.
Joss Whedon's Justice League needs to have a conversation with you, Ashley.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
If you use the $10 as an S, an I, and an O, you could change this to say, tease the penis nuts, yo. And honestly, I'm ashamed for the young people in this neighborhood for not doing it.
That is the dumbest and cringiest attempt at a joke that I've heard in a very long time. Throw up 10 sins for that bullshit.
That stuff really blocks the chip signal.
I mean, maybe. But even if it does, what about the walls, vents, or any recorded location data it might have already sent out? This is a tinfoil band-aid, and tinfoil band-aids suck.
The chip tells where Translucent's general location is, not an exact location. Later in this very episode, Vought agents actually sweep the area surrounding this building because of the chip's signals. In other words, yes, Aaron, the bare walls would let the signal out when the chip sends one. But Huey is covering the bare surfaces with tinfoil to prevent a signal from being sent.
Just drop the Moby f***ing dick of problems on my plate.
So it's the problem you've been obsessively hunting down your whole life? And why is it on your plate? I think Frenchie may need some metaphor lessons.
Jesus Christ, it's a big problem. That's it. Sure, he might have been playing this as a joke, but it still wasn't funny, so the sin stands.
Right, I bet we suffocate him.
Some Dominicans already tried this, way back 07.
And what happened?
They're all f***ing dead. That's what happened.
Right, but what happened? It's frustrating enough that this isn't an answer to what Butcher asked, but even more frustrating, the Butcher just accepts this yada yada bullshit when he should be following up on why suffocation wouldn't work.
Oh my fucking god, are you actually this dumb, or are you just pretending? Frenchie saying that they're all dead is his way of saying that suffocation won't work and will just result in them getting themselves killed. Seeing as Butcher has more than 2 brain cells, he doesn't need any further explanation.
You gonna kill him?
What did Huey think they were going to do? I really want to like this character, but writing him as this naive makes it really hard sometimes.
So it's impossible to like a naive character? Why? Was Huey supposed to be a hardened killer from the very beginning? Notice how his character development throughout each season leaves him less and less naive. That's how storytelling works. We start at one spot, and progress to another slowly.
Can't get A-Train if you're a greasy smear on the pavement.
Actually, that might be a perfect way to get A-Train. If you're greasy enough, it can provide a banana peel-esque pratfall. And with A-Train going at full speed, his head hitting the pavement would pop that sucker like a balloon. Just saying, if you need a backup plan.
I feel like the TVSins writers purposefully make all their jokes unfunny so that they can bore the audience to sleep, thereby gaining full watch time from the person sleeping and being able to turn the video off.
Come on, Madeline. You do not need to hide things from me.
Nor could she. How does anyone hide anything from the guy that can basically see and hear anything he wants to?
But Homelander can't see and hear anything he wants to. Do you really think his powers are limitless? That's dumb. The show actually later reveals that there are things Vought is hiding from him successfully, so this entire sin is nothing short of bullshit.
Gods are pure and they're perfect.
Madeline needs a crash course on Greek mythology. Zeus was basically a horn dog that would turn himself into all sorts of animals just to do sexy time with humans, and that's just one of them.
Yes, but that's still not a sin of this episode. Madeline is not an objective narrator. She's a flawed character who's trying to placate Homelander.
You're leaking.
Thank you.
What the f*** is this scene?
Better than anything you've ever done on your channel.
As Boimler chats with Scotty, McCoy decides to trek this gun all the way out to this counter to set it up for maximum dramatic effect.
First, Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference to isn't a sin of the episode cliche. And second, why is Butcher setting the gun up here a sin? Did you want him to set it up in the bathroom or something just so that he wouldn't be seen by the camera that he doesn't know is there? What the fuck?
They built a 7 right into their headquarters, which, cool, I guess, but it also kind of limits you from ever expanding the lineup if you want to really capitalize. You're setting yourself up for a 14 teams in the Big Ten situation, and there's nothing you can do about it now.
A whole bunch of bullshit that isn't a sin of the episode. Ex machina. I mean cliche. I mean, just ring the sin bell.
Also, what if you want to sell the building? I used to live in a town where the Solo Cup company built a giant 2-story concrete Solo Cup right into the side of the building and had a hard time selling it. The final negotiations included a giant ping pong ball, but that's a story for another day.
This entire story is a story for never, because it wasn't funny or entertaining in any way, shape, or form.
What is it with just leaving all these screens on and running all the time? It looks like pretty detailed and important information back there that nobody ever seems to use, but is just available to anyone who comes in. If it's for decoration, wouldn't you go with like some flying toasters or something?
It's not decoration, it's crime analysis and statistics. The reason they leave the TVs on all the time is because this is the room where the 7 congregate and get their information on those statistics.
Sounds coated in the same carbon metamaterial as his skin.
But if you can actually manufacture the material his skin is made of, then why isn't everyone just wearing a translucent suit for protection?
Wait, what did he just say? Did he seriously just ask why everyone isn't wearing carbon metamaterial protective suits? Jesus fuck, how stupid are you? By definition, metamaterial is artificially created and therefore super difficult to create. It's not something that can just be easily mass manufactured.
Oh no, not a tear in the tinfoil. Is it a tear that's just specifically big enough to give Vought a general location without letting them know exactly where translucent is? You bet it is.
Like I explained earlier, the chips only send general locations. What's the issue with that? It's actually pretty damn realistic that they wouldn't be able to give precise locations.
Oh wow, what a surprise. A water crime.
I get he's being sarcastic, but he shouldn't be surprised at all. Someone had to tell him where to be, so he knew before he got there it was a dock.
Did he just admit that he knows the Deep was being sarcastic, but then sinned it anyway? You can't make this shit up.
Oh, so you're the water guy, dude? Get over it. This would be like the best pilot in the world being upset they always make him fly planes and never give him submarine duty.
The Deep literally explains in this very scene why he's upset. He can run missions on land too, not just in the water, but Vought parades him as the water guy like you just said. Pay attention.
Why are they running drugs in these dolls? Either A, they're buying actual Homelander dolls and then unboxing them and inserting drugs and reboxing them, or B, they're making their own detailed Homelander dolls with voice technology. Either way, this is a lot of effort to smuggle mostly air in something that would be easily beaten by an X-ray.
So it's a sin that drug smugglers in a show do something that's realistic because similar things have happened in real life? Okay, if you say so.
Hey boys.
Now I'm confused as to how the water played a part in this at all. Feels like there are other ways he could have gotten to the other side of the warehouse without swimming.
Yes, Aaron, but notice how they mentioned earlier that this mission was water adjacent. The Deep was involved because the mission was on a dock next to the water. This is all done for the effect of Vaught's audience, who will respond well to the Deep being involved in a mission that was close to the water, regardless of whether or not the water was actually involved.
Yeah, stand over him and say this is lit.
They bring camera crews to all the crime scenes before the criminals have been apprehended? Isn't that insanely dangerous? Makes you wonder how many innocent cameramen and mic guys have been murdered because of this tactic. I'm guessing at least a few.
Have you ever seen those clips from war zones in real life? Who do you think shot those, the soldiers? No, it was a camera crew. Much more dangerous shit than this happens in real life.
Come on. Susan. 5 minutes alone with a piece of paper. For old time's sakes, and I want to know.
I mean, we don't kink shame, but the paper cuts alone, man. Don't do it.
Discount Jeremy makes a cringy sexual joke that isn't funny cliche.
Did I mention this is life or death?
I'll send an edible arrangement to your funeral.
Susan says this like it's a bad thing. There's nothing inappropriate about sending edible arrangements to a funeral, right? Right? Oh man, I think I know why most of my friends who have lost loved ones don't call me anymore.
Unfunny joke is unfunny.
Thought you might be thirsty, so...
I brought you some water in a glass without thinking that maybe that could be a dangerous idea. My brain stops working when I feel empathy.
He mentions how Huey isn't thinking logically because of his empathy, but is still somehow failing to understand the realism of emotions overpowering logical judgment.
Buddy, my superpower ain't invisibility. It's reading people. Watching them when they think they're alone.
Which you can only do because of your invisibility.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yes, he watches them by using his invisibility, but he said that his true power is reading them, meaning that watching them is only a stepping stone to understanding them. Besides, you're yet again acting like this line is factual exposition when it's really just a character reflecting on himself.
Guy breaks a window, looks around with a flashlight, and then moves on from the exact kind of place the translucent might be in. They used to say when I was growing up that TV makes you stupid, and I'm just now realizing they might have been talking about the characters.
Notice how this show is satirical? Yeah, this is another one of those details that's meant to mock other shows and movies where characters do weird and dumb things like this.
Boy, they're blowing so much smoke up Maeve's ass. It's a miracle she doesn't die of lung cancer.
Colon cancer seems more likely in that case, but sure, Senator, the rectum leads to the lungs. Since politicians are clearly the experts on how women's bodies work.
For the millionth time, he's sending this character's dialogue as if it's supposed to be 100% objectively factual information as opposed to a character being a character.
Everyone loves to bask in their glow. But tomorrow morning, no one's putting soups in the national defense.
It's lucky for Madeline that Senator Calhoun opened his big mouth because now she can conveniently set him up with Doppelganger and get the blackmail pictures before he hits the Senate floor with his decision.
What about this is convenient? He didn't just randomly start talking about soups and national defense. She goaded him into talking about that because this has been her angle this entire time.
Miss, do me a favor and shut your eyes.
Telegraphing your superpower. Not preparing yourself after a superpower has been telegraphed.
Okay, both of these sins are examples of the TVSins writers forcing random crap into their video to extend the runtime and sin count.
That feels different.
See, the joke is that the shapeshifter shifted to a man to take pictures the senator wouldn't want released. But couldn't they have just shifted the parts that would be seen in the picture and left the other parts the same?
They could, but why? Why not do it this way? Sure, there is another way to do it, but why is this way wrong?
Having to see a nature special on turtles to get the obvious idea, what if we go through an orifice on the guy with impenetrable skin?
Discount Jeremy points things out on the screen cliche.
I need him unconscious.
Why?
Because I got it.
But Frenchie isn't going to tell Billy or Huey his plan yet because we need to be surprised. It's as if he knows he has a TV audience he needs to keep in suspense.
Sinning a character for being their character.
Also, if this is Doppelganger's natural look, why would he choose that in the blackmail picture?
We're shown in Season 2 that shifting into a different person is difficult and painful. So Doppelganger chose to be himself to make it easier on himself.
No one wants your f***ing soups in the army?
No one? Sure, I can see some politicians being loyal to gun manufacturers and the like, but I don't believe that no one would be interested in seeing the soups in military scenarios. I also can't believe this is the first senator Stillwell is blackmailed into her pocket. Maybe they don't get enough votes, but they sure as hell would be getting more than none.
Okay. First, this is not an omniscient narrator saying this to the audience as objective exposition. This is a character saying an emotionally charged thing to another character. And second, why is it unrealistic that this is the first senator Stillwell is blackmailing? She's got to start somewhere. Why not with him?
So how do you get to the squishy inside? Through the mouth, no? The stomach acid, the gag reflex.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there, Frenchie. You lot have been attempting to kill Translucent in a variety of ways, and you haven't been shy about it. When you thought you had a bullet, you just marched in and shot it at him. So don't give me this stomach acid, gag reflex shit. He was unconscious. So the number of ways you could have killed him through his nose, mouth, or anus easily and quickly without using a bomb are countless.
Is he implying that the gag reflex goes away when you're unconscious? That's simply not true. As for the nose, it's too small to effectively fit something up there, and snoring is also an obstacle that they might have had to overcome. The anus is actually the most logical orifice in this situation. It's basically a typical Friday night.
Homelander,
You've still got a bomb in your butt that you can't pull out without setting it off, so Homelander or not, you're still in quite a pickle. Well, actually, the pickle's in you, but you know what I mean.
Right, but he still has a better chance of surviving if Homelander frees him. How do you not understand this?
So even if I did believe that Huey was dumb enough to leave a glass in with a prisoner, there's no way in the, let's just say, intimate way they implanted that bomb that either Frenchie or Butcher didn't see it there and immediately confiscate it.
I feel pretty confident that planting a bomb in someone's ass would be very effective in distracting you from a water glass on the floor.
First, even if a bit of urine somehow shorted out a freaking car battery, and let's just say that's doubtful, if it's just a simple slide lock on that thing, why hasn't he just bumped it with the glass or just withstood the shock for a second or two to quickly flip it open?
The spaces between the metal are too small for him to fit the glass through, and his fingers are too short. As for withstanding the shock, the episode is clearly implying that it's too strong for that to be plausible.
We all know what's going on here. It's just implied, but we all know what's going on in this thought bubble. The kids don't know, but we do.